Okay, we are live. Welcome everyone to Controlled Chaos Live, Thursday night. Hope everyone had a great week so far. I'm sure if you're here in town, our little hometown of Pell City, surrounding areas, you had a little snow. I'm waiting on Frank to get in here. I don't know where he run off to. He has done walked away. Oh, maybe. Oh, what? Frank, are you are you trying to provoke a spirit or something like that? I mean,
no, I'm freaking cold.
All right. Well, Frank, hey, well, nice to join us. You know, it is winter time. It's 18 degrees outside.
Hey, I'll get rid of them.
Yeah, get rid of the.
God.
You know, we'll be posting some videos on Facebook. We captured another spirit on live Facebook Live. So, anyway, hey Michelle, how are you doing? Again, welcome to Controlled Chaos.
Hello, everyone.
He comes out here cold. Now he's sitting here in a short sleeve shirt.
Well, it's so nobody looks at me funny.
Nah, they're gonna do that anyway,
Right.
Frank. Yeah, go on and get your. That's 2 cups of coffee. Do we need
You
to
say
have
that like it's a bad thing.
Do we need to have an intervention for you or something like that? Because you seem to be a little. You know, this is only an hour-long show.
I know. This should get me about halfway through.
Well, it looks like Frank is ready. I'm ready as well. Got my little drink over here. As I was saying, we hope everyone survived Snowmageddon 2018.
We hope you're warm.
Yes, because we were actually going to do the show again down in the basement, but the last 2 shows we did, it's been cold. And
Freaking cold.
Cold as a get out. A couple times we were filming downstairs and we had the heater right in between us. So it's been one of those nights. Anyway, low temperatures. Tonight shouldn't be too bad. We hope everyone sit down and enjoy us. Kids don't have school tomorrow if you're around our area. So nothing else to do. Just sit down and listen to us talk a little bit.
Right, absolutely. So you know, a question that we posed on the Control Chaos Live Facebook page was, do your ghosts get cranky or overactive when they get cold? You know,
I know I do.
Right. I don't get overactive, but I definitely get cranky.
We know about the overactive part.
Yeah,
That's an understatement. But as far as cranky, I mean, I don't think you even have to be cold to be cranky. I mean, just an observation.
You know, I want to say something, but the bad thing is you're not the only person that's told me that today.
Today. Well, Frank, you might want to start looking at changing your lifestyle.
Y'all are all wrong.
We're all wrong. Everybody's wrong but Frank.
I said I'm not freaking cranky.
Whoa, here. We still got 54 minutes left in the show.
but yeah. Question that we were talking about was, you know, how does the cold weather affect your ghost? You know, something that we've been looking at, especially with all the inclement weather that we've been having. You know, 12 degrees in Alabama is just not right. That is something that we should not have. And, you know, when you have unseasonable weather, you know, storms, things like that, anything in your environment can definitely have a reaction, you know, you know, everyone has heard the old statement that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Weather is included in that. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Sure are. We're going to talk a little bit about solar activity, geomagnetic, geomagnetic energy, how reports come up more often during thunderstorms, cold weather. We're going to throw in a bunch of little things tonight, and should be a good show. Should be some really good informative stuff for you to go on.
Right, absolutely. So,
Hello, Annie. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching.
so if you think about it, everyone talks about, you always hear it around Halloween. They mention the veil between our world and the spirit world gets thinner, and you hear people talking about things like that, and that spirits can cross over more easily into our world.
Right. Yeah. A lot of science. Actually, a theory is that during the winter months, that like you were saying, the threshold is thinner between our two worlds, and that's why they suggest or theorize they can cross over more during the winter months.
So, what if it's not really
Hi,
fun?
Logan. Sorry, man. I'm getting shout outs over here.
Right.
I got to talk to the fans. That's why we
Right.
do this. Hey, Logan. That's my nephew.
Right. Nobody ever wants to talk to me. They just-
Well, Laura's in the room
they-
watching.
they-
She hasn't said hello or anything.
no,
She
she-
just pops in and
She don't
creeps around like somebody peeping around the corner at us.
She don't want to talk to me either. She's one of them that called me cranky today.
Oh, was it? I knew it was her. I knew it was her. I should have said it on camera. Well, we're glad everyone has joined us.
But yeah, that something to think about is, what if it's not that the veil between spirit world and our world gets thinner, and all these things like that. You tend to see that more from the side of folklore, superstition, things like that. But what does science say about it? And what is something that, even if you're a complete and total skeptic, even if you think that it's all craziness, ghosts aren't real, whatever, what is something that we can look at from that perspective to help explain some of it?
Mm-hmm.
Something happens that, temperature really affects us in more ways than we realize. I mean, you have to think about this. When you're driving on the highway and you run over, every several feet, you'll see those strips going across the road, like on the bridges and
Right.
things like that. What those are expansion joints, because just the temperature alone can cause these massive steel and concrete bridges to expand and contract. And if they didn't allow for that, it would be such an expansion and contracting that it would cause them to crack and fall apart.
Exactly. They were rebuilding them every other winter, or every winter time, or
Right.
summertime
So-
when it expands, and wintertime when it retracts.
So you have to think about that.
Couple shout outs here. You got a sympathy shout out.
Awesome.
My nephew gave you a high, Frank.
Right.
Something wrong with that kid, I think. So Pink has joined us tonight. Pink,
Right.
thanks for joining us. There's Laura. She says she's being stealthy.
Oh, okay.
So she is peeping around the corner and lingering in the lounge.
Right. No, but I will say, I know she's trying to listen. But
Sarah and Sam.
well, that's good. We're glad to have Sarah and Sam listening or watching. Yeah, I know Laura will probably be doing more listening than watching, because she, as always, is working on a project tonight.
She does seem to be kind of busy all the time.
Maybe.
It's either cheerleading with her daughter, or she's going over evidence from cases that you and her have been on, her paranormal team as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, she stays pretty busy.
She definitely does. Definitely one of the hardest working people I know in paranormal. I'm not just saying that.
I think you are. I think
she's-
you're trying to build up brownie points. He was telling me earlier before the show he's got to make up for something he's done, Laura. So.
Well, you're certainly helping me right now.
Any way I can help, Frank. Any way I can make your life
Right. That's,
a little worse.
I tell you, she's one of those people. Watching her will make you tired.
Oh yeah, yes.
But the interesting thing is, temperature. If just the temperature alone can crumble bridges if they're not properly fitted for it, can cause steel to bend and warp and things like that, then what does it do to us? that we are much more sensitive to temperature and to our environment in general than we realize.
Right.
When this cold weather moves in, you know, every year starting about October, you start getting a few more reports coming in, but not many. You know, no.
Right.
For anyone who is not in the paranormal field, you know, a lot of people would probably think, oh, well, it's getting close to Halloween. They're probably going to get
Right. Yeah. A lot. Now you really do. If you sit back and look around Halloween, you know, you have your thrill seekers.
Right.
Those are the ones that are calling you during October, November, right around
They're
that
all- it's
area.
on
So
the
you really can't count those as cold weather activity reports.
Right.
You know, you have to kind of cull some of these out. So
Yeah, they come in, and you know you'll get a couple more cases, you know, during that time of year, but you know, let December hit.
Right.
When December hits, December, January, February, the phone's blowing up.
Oh yeah.
And what is the difference in October versus December, January, February?
About 17 degrees.
I
can tell because I'm not a cold weather person.
Right.
I don't like cold weather. I don't have much insulation, so I look like Ralphie's little brother on A Christmas Story trying to walk around and do some work. So
and me being someone with arthritis, that the cold weather really gets to me. I hate it. You know, I don't want to do anything in it, but you know, drink coffee, look out the window, and be glad that I'm not out in it.
Exactly. Yes. We got a couple more people real quick. Hate to interrupt you, Frank. Cheryl Carrier, she come in, joined us. She agrees with us. Of course. Hey, who doesn't agree with us? We're agreeable people. Well, let's see. My nephew Logan again, he asked a question. Hey, Uncle Donald, how long have y'all been doing this? Well, Frank has been doing it for over 20 years. I mean, you're pushing, what, 25 maybe? You're 22 years, something like that?
I'm number 25 years old.
Really? I was gonna. You opened the door there, and I nearly stepped in it. So I'm just gonna stick with that. Frank's been doing it around 20 years. I've been doing it for about 6 years, 6 or 7 years now. So Frank is the more experienced. I'm the comedic relief. So that's how we get this show. Now, as far as the show, we've had a radio show on a couple different networks. We decided to give Facebook Live a shot. That's why we're on here now. And we're doing pretty well with it. We're really excited about the viewership we're starting to gain. And we hope it continues to climb.
Yeah, we started the radio show in, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And we did that for a while, and we just wanted to, you know, there's only so much that we can tell somebody over the radio.
Right.
You know, I can only tell you so much and describe something, but the reason we went to a video platform is so we can show you.
Exactly. And plus, everyone nowadays wants to see it rather than hear it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more people are a lot more visual than they used to be. So now we need to come on and show you things like we did last week.
Right.
Or the last two shows. We were down in the basement showing you some gadgets and gadgetry. And we actually captured some evidence.
Right.
So it was pretty compelling stuff. If you haven't seen that video, check out our video. It's on our C.A.S.P.I.R page.
Yeah, we have it's on YouTube, and it's on our Facebook page.
Right. Y'all really need to check that out. It's about, 12, 13 minutes long, but it's a really great video. Frank done a great job at editing it and bringing you the evidence that we actually captured.
Yeah, and keep in mind, if you do watch it, it's from a live broadcast that we did on New Year's Eve. We were broadcasting live and just kind of showing off some of the stuff because it was so cold. You know, we were kind of showing some of that.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we got more activity. We got some EVPs.
Even got names that we've never gotten before here. So
had some interesting things happen. Some equipment turning off and all.
Right. Yeah. Hey, that's the big thing. You know. So it was pretty compelling stuff. So if you want to run over there and check it out real quick, and leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the videos.
Well, don't check it out right now.
Yeah, don't check it out right now. We still got We still got 45 minutes left. So in 45 minutes, go check the video.
Right. You're going to need something to watch at your restop.
Yeah, you're going to need something to watch. You don't want to watch us over again. I mean, you might want to watch me, but, you know, having to put up with that for 2 hours, I can see where.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you know, there are probably a lot of people that like the scary things. So yeah, they might want to watch you some more.
Horror movies, we got the horror flick people out there wanting to watch me.
It's like, come here, look how scary this looks.
No kidding, yeah. So we were talking about weather, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We
got strayed for a second there.
So you know, you have to think. You know, we get the bulk of our calls during, you know, December, January, February, which happen to be the coldest months. And I personally, I think that's more than coincidence, because the nature of cold air in itself, cold air is more densely charged. It has more static electricity. You've probably noticed this. How many of you have been walking around the house here for the past several days while it's been unseasonably cold, and everything you touch, there's a static electricity shock? You know?
Yep.
Well, if it's doing that to you, that means it's in the air. There's more potential for it. And, you know, all that static electricity is, you know, of course, you know, we think of it as, you know, me personally, I think of when I was a kid and used to, you know.
Oh, yeah, you used to do it to
you know, rub
all
my
the
feet,
time.
you
Yeah,
know.
like the episode of Family Guy when
That was basically my teenage years.
yeah, it was when Peter was walking around in his little onesie
Right.
pajamas and he rubbing his feet and, and everybody get mad at him.
Right. That was pretty much my early
That's about
teenage
my level of
Right.
viewership. Right? Family Guy, The Cleveland Show, Rick and Morty.
But you've probably noticed that difference yourself. That so
it really is. I'm a big believer in. I mean, I'm a firm believer in weather affects the paranormal. I really am, because it is actually, you know, I've actually sat down and looked at some of the data that we have collected off of, and if you show me that weather analyzer there, one good thing to always have on an investigation is a weather station. You can set this up anywhere, place a camera on it, so that way, anytime you find an EVP, you have a personal experience, you have what the inside temperature is, what the humidity, you can get some that show you the dew point, the barometric pressure. All this is great data to collect, because you can go later on, after 3 or 4 investigations, and compare temperatures and barometric pressures. And well, look, if the barometric pressure is 30 and on the rise, but the temperature is 20 and on the downfall, you know, you can compare that. That could be a possible scenario you want to take a look at that could possibly help you find out why they're manifesting.
You know, and you can get a unit like this that, you know, not only can you monitor where you're at, you can see it's got pretty long wire for running outside. We'll run that to another part of the location. This is like a $10 unit.
Right. Yeah, something cheap just to give you a base readings and all that good stuff, but it's real handy to have.
Something you can do, you can spend a little bit more, you know, upwards of $50, $60, and of course get units that are wireless, and you can get them that let you monitor more than one location.
Right.
So that you can have, you know, say you're doing a big enough setup that you've brought out the DVR system. Put your monitor right here, and, you know, you put a sensor in each of the rooms that you're monitoring.
Sure do. These actually come, your base.
Spot fluctuations.
Yeah, you'll have your base sitting there wherever your nerve center, as control center, whatever you want to call it. Then you go set your wireless temp probes, which is basically what this is, but connected to the base. You set them out in different rooms, and it reads out, and you can tell room 1, 27 degrees, room 2, 36 degrees. Well, why is there such a big difference in this room? You know, there's little things like that you need to pay attention to that could possibly generate some kind of scientific data.
Or something you can do if you don't want to spring for a big unit, get you one of these This one is old. We've had it several years. The bulb doesn't work in it
It's
anymore.
probably been dropped a few times.
There's no probably about that. But
Yeah, because right now it's saying the outside temperature is 72 degrees.
Right.
I don't believe that for a minute.
right. That yep, that's probably about right. Because it was over here against my hand.
Oh, so you've had
Yeah.
the sensor under your arm the whole
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's probably reading right. I just okay.
These things, if you don't want to spring for a big fancy one, buy several of these. Some of them have a backlight you can turn on and keep it on. Sit it in front of your camera where you've got it in the room. Where right there, have it so that your camera, as it's recording everything, is also recording
The changes in the atmospheric pressures and all that.
So that way, at the same time, that shadow
Live.
figure goes across or
Live
whatever,
update.
you've got the data.
Right there.
I mean, for the price of them, it's definitely it's too handy to not get.
We need to say, Sam just posted us. Sarah sends her apology. She is sick and she has to leave. Sarah, we hope you start feeling better.
Yeah.
We understand the sickness and we hope it's not the flu, but take care of yourself. Be sure to get some soup and something. Just get better, because this flu that's going around is not what you want to mess with.
Right. I would personally recommend, I have my own home remedies. I would recommend a shot of soup and a bowl of whiskey.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. The shot of soup and a bowl of whiskey.
Right.
Hey, I'm coming to your house afterwards. Well, hey, when I was 6 or 7 years old, my grandmother always had a fifth of whiskey with peppermint and honey in that thing.
Hey, and those things.
And if you just went, you were getting a shot of that whiskey. Shoot, when I was 13, 14, I was walking around. I had whooping cough for years. She went through more whiskey than anything.
It's like, I think it's helping, but I just haven't gotten over it yet.
One more shot might do it, Mimo. I'm terrible.
This is why we're friends.
Oh, Lord. Our true side is showing. It took us 10 episodes for the real us to show up.
So yeah, the weather is going to have an effect. Cold air is more densely charged. There's more potential energy in the environment. So a lot of people, myself included, believe that allows for more things to happen. Now, do I believe that it works as a giant battery for ghosts to use and all of this? Not quite.
Right. I think it's just a small portion of what actually helps manifest paranormal activity. I think it has it plays a small part in the big scheme of things.
Well, and you have to remember, our brains work off of electricity.
Right.
And, you can't help but wonder, is this more densely charged atmosphere? How does it affect our perception of the paranormal? So, that's actually a question that is out there that we can't answer right now. We just don't have the data to answer this. But you have to wonder,
go ahead, finish it.
Is it, in a more densely charged environment, is there more activity? Or does it affect us in a way that we're able to perceive what activity is there better?
Right. Yeah. And what I was about to say was, and you'll hear us say this a lot of times, we're talking about theories. We're talking about ideas that we have off of this theory. It is okay to question science.
Oh, yeah.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with questioning science. Come up with your own theories, but make sure that you have some scientific facts for your theories. If nobody ever questioned science, we'd be sitting here thinking that the earth was flat still, because centuries ago, that's exactly what they thought. Now we've put a man on the moon. We're discovering several different.
Well, there are.
Are you going to go with one of them conspiracy theories again?
The
wrong. Don't. If it's got
there
conspiracy and theory, don't look at it.
So right now is the part of the show where you need to put on your tinfoil hat.
Right.
Because we are scanning your brains.
Right now, as a matter of fact.
And you thinking that. Thank you.
Pink,
I like this show.
Pink, you need Jesus. No. Pink says her brain works off caffeine. Hey, look here. This is what we got. We've had this. We've got coffee.
Right.
We've got, oh man, we've got some yellow jackets in a pack back here. I mean,
but yeah, the funny thing is, you talking about that, there are a surprising number of people out there that still believe that Earth is flat.
hey, there's some, I was just reading not too long ago, LeBron James, the Cleveland Cavaliers, he's jumped on the flat Earth bandwagon. I mean, some pretty high up people are really actually thinking that the Earth is still flat, and I don't see where they can draw that conclusion. It just baffles me.
I just don't understand it myself. I mean, I'm sorry, my personal belief, real Earth has curves.
Real Earth has curves.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with curves.
That
Jennifer says this is true statement for sure. If the Earth were flat, cats would have pushed everything off of it by now. That is
and
absolutely true.
I think that is all the information that we need to confirm it.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, you have to think at the theory that the moon was made of cheese. I mean,
I'm sure there's some people out there that still believes that too. So hey, that really, I'm glad she said that, because that means our listening audience is just about as warped-minded as we are.
Right.
They
can't be right in the head, or they wouldn't be watching us.
Right. Yeah. So.
You all need help, just like us.
Yeah, we might as well go on and all have an intervention. Right. Just come on in and hug and get it over with.
That's why if I drive past the house and I see more than 2 cars in the yard, I keep driving.
Oh yeah,
they're playing in mine.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. And we've tried, and you've called us a couple times.
But
chasing you through the park down there that one night wasn't a fun experience. But we won't say nothing else about that. It's neither here nor there.
Well, that's like when I decided to go for a run, but those cops come out of nowhere.
Lord.
But yeah, the temperature definitely has an effect on reported paranormal activity.
It really does.
Now, what effect, we cannot say for sure. Now, we do have our theories. I have my theory about the air being more dense, causing more potential energy for us to use for perception of paranormal events, and maybe slightly for for psychokinetic activity. Is that no, that's a firm belief that I have. Now, I may be completely 100% wrong, but that's what I personally believe based on what I've seen during investigations.
And the data that we've collected and kind of compared to other cases.
But, there really isn't anything that is absolutely certain about that, because, if we could make certain claims and statements and really nail down the things about the paranormal like that, then it actually wouldn't be the paranormal anymore.
It wouldn't.
Because, simply all paranormal is you can't explain it.
Yeah, a big scientific experiment is really all the paranormal is. And not necessarily, you can't, if you really want to look at it, it's just a bunch of theories being thrown together. Just a bunch of experiments, not necessarily scientific, just a bunch of experiments thrown together to try to collect data. Is really all it is.
So, if you're interested in more of the scientific side, there's something I want to show you in just a little while. But not only temperature, there's so many different things that can affect us, coming from weather. Something that we often don't think about in weather are solar rays. When you have like the solar microburst, you have
right.
So
solar
the gamma
flares.
rays.
Yeah.
it those can affect us. And
You know, we just had a large solar flare, what, last year? Year before last? It hadn't been long ago.
right. And you know, actually, while that was going on, if any of you remember it, you will remember it if you were doing anything involving the internet or radio or anything like that, because it was really hard to get any kind of connection out for quite a while when that happened. It knocked down so many things and caused so many issues.
It's
Cell
crazy
phones
how
weren't
something
working.
like that will affect a lot of man-made stuff that we have going on right now. Not only man-made, but stuff, you know, people were, I guess, more sensitive. Some people were more sensitive to the solar activity, and you know, not necessarily the solar activity, but the paranormal experiences associated with the solar activity.
Right. And something else to think about, thunderstorms. Now, personally, I believe that
One of the best investigations we've ever done was during a thunderstorm. Except for the other night, that was a pretty good one. That was during the coldest day of the month or the year so far, I believe it was.
that you know, back in 2015, we did a sanatorium. It was one that it was an old one out in Arkansas that we were going to do a 2-night investigation there, and the first night there was 3 of us. We go through, well, just before time for us to start investigating, there's this huge storm that rolls through. And there had been tornadoes in other places and all this, and this storm pops up where we were.
So this
Now-
storm has already brewed up and generated a lot of energy coming across the state.
Right.
Yeah.
So luckily we were just in the edge of it, didn't get anything severe, just a little rain and, you know, a lot of lightning though.
Oh yeah, that's
And that night, you know, we started investigating maybe about 30 minutes after the storm rolled out. Well, that night we had so much activity. It was crazy. I mean, we were having disembodied voices, and you know, so loudly that the volume nearly matched our voice volume on the
oh
recordings.
really? Wow. So they were really hyped up then, huh?
We were getting, you know, PK activity, objects being moved, things like that, shadow figures, all of that stuff. I mean, it was literally just off the charts. So the next night, we were going to return. We were going to investigate the same amount of time. We're going to start the same time of day, everything else. Well, the next night, it had been, you know, after the storm moved out and the weather cleared up, it was beautiful. You know, pretty sunny day. The weather, you couldn't ask for it to be any better. That night, it was dead.
Absolutely nothing.
I think we got maybe 2 EVPs, and we heard one place memory playing back.
Now, were the EVPs you captured, were they strong EVPs like the night
They
before? Were they Class A's? Were they Class B's? You know,
That-
but what you're thinking, they were weaker than the night before when you
They
captured
were
them.
definitely not as strong.
While you were doing it during the thunderstorm coming up.
It was off the charts. It
Right,
was-
yeah, so that's pretty interesting stuff right there.
So you know, and that was a perfect situation. You know, first night, thunderstorm, you know, and lots of activity. Same location, same time, same people next night, and it's quiet.
Wow.
So
Well, Laura just said that I personally think 50-50 on the weather, increasing activity or not, just personal experience.
oh yeah,
Everyone's going to have different experiences. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as we share each other's experiences and try to kind of grab a baseline off of what each other is doing. She also said the gurney residual the next night. Is that a misprint? Is that a misspelled word? Or
oh no, and Laura was on that investigation,
Right.
That I was describing there.
you see what she said
And,
there? The gurney residual. Okay, so I'm
that-
all right.
what had happened the second night, I talked about us getting a place memory playback or a
Yeah.
residual playback. We're sitting in the hallway. Now this is an old sanatorium, about 7 stories tall, about 550 feet long, nearly. Huge place.
Large location, then. Yeah.
And Laura and I are the only two in the building. We're sitting there, and we hear a gurney come down the hallway. And the thing of it is,
Now, you heard this through a recording, or you heard it actually while y'all were sitting somewhere?
It was coming. It was coming through the recording.
Okay.
That the old gurneys.
Mm-hmm.
That they were really loud.
Had the old wobbly wheels on it, like the buggies at Walmart. Yeah.
Right. That you can hear one go down the hallway, goes past us. It starts off quiet, gets a little louder, then goes past us and starts fading out again. And it sounds like it's empty. When something that has those wheels on it is empty, those wheels wobble a lot, and the wheels are a lot louder. Well, when you put something heavy on it, those wheels don't wobble as much,
Right.
and you hear more squeaking as they roll. Well, you hear something with the wobbly wheels go down. 3 or 4 minutes later, you hear it come back
Like
with it squeaking
they
like it
picked
was
up their
loaded.
patient
Right.
or whoever and sending them back. Well, that's weird. That's crazy. That's
Well,
pretty
and,
interesting.
and the interesting thing about it was about 11 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. I
Yeah.
remember it wasn't extremely late, but it was later, And
Now, Michelle Harold has a good question. She came back a few minutes ago. I didn't want to interrupt the story, but she asked she just says gravitational waves. Do you think that has a play in the paranormal?
any type of disturbance, anything that
Geomagnetic, geological, you turned me on to that right there, looking at what rock formations and what kind of different things that's around in that area.
Yeah, because different, different types of stone, different crystals, things like that. If you're in an area that, say there's 2 areas that you want to compare. Say one is, a lot of clay, a lot of, maybe some, maybe a little igneous rock, something like that.
Yeah.
That's your main soil composition. And then you've got an area over here that's like a lot of limestone and a lot of natural quartz and things like that in the ground. Then this area is going to the sun's rays coming down, the geomagnetic energy coming from the Earth's core. All of this energy that's in the atmosphere is going to react differently with those elements in the soil.
Right.
Than if there's, like, say, granite, sandstone, limestone, and quartz, than if it's red clay and just igneous rock. And some of those substances have the ability to store energy, and if you look at the stone tape theory, that, says that they can actually act as almost like a film. So it's quite interesting to see.
I think one of our cameras quit, Frank. We're not the live.
Right, let me check this real quick.
Okay. We're going to take just a couple minutes, or Frank's going to take a break and check our camera setup. I think I heard one stop on us. Was that right?
You were right, sir.
Oh, man. Well, I guess it got tired of listening to us then, didn't it? He said, heck with this, I'm done.
That's,
All right. So we are back on both now. Most of y'all, that if you're just joining us, it's the first time you're watching us, we have 2 cameras we're sitting right in front of us. We broadcast Facebook Live. We were broadcasting YouTube Live, but it's a little on the maintenance side right now, YouTube seems to be. So we just record off of one and post it to YouTube later. But we were broadcasting live on both.
so
So if you see us jump up and run around or something like that, camera shaking, that's us messing with it. we generally do. We generally have good reception here. The gremlins have stayed away from us quite a bit, and we're proud of that.
Right. I know there was that one time I let them get into my Red Bull, and then I went crazy, but no more.
None whatsoever. And not only the Red Bull, but you fed them after midnight too, and that just caused all kind of chaos around here. So, but that's why we call this controlled chaos.
Yeah, that reminds me of something that I was talking with someone about the show here, and they were asking me, controlled chaos, what is that about? But honestly, if you think about it, I mean, well, and it goes well with what we're talking about tonight. The weather. We as humans tend to, we see how much is out there in society, and civilized countries with the technology that we have and everything else. We kind of let our egos get the best of us because we think we are really in control of everything.
Right.
And
you actually sometimes think that you have got your environment controlled completely. When you're doing an investigation.
That is, all it takes is a good storm coming through or something like that to kind of knock ourselves off of that pedestal and remind us, hey, okay, we have a lot less control than
what you think. Absolutely. And there are so many factors that you have to take into consideration when you're setting up, when you're wanting to do an investigation. Just like now, when we do the show here, there'll be nights where we'll have a great show, no trains, no fire trucks, no police officers. So, and tonight's been good.
I only hear the sirens when you're around.
Well, I don't know what to say about that one. I don't want to incriminate myself. I don't want to do anything like that, so we'll just carry on along with that conversation.
It seems like
I do have to take back roads here. I do have to do that.
Right, so, because there's more police on the main roads.
There are. Yes, they are. And they know my car because I'm the only car driving around with no bumper on the front of it. That's all I'm going to say, though. I'm not going to go any further. But anyway, where was I? Was I talking or were you talking?
I don't remember. Oh, yeah, we were talking about the chaos.
Yeah, the control chaos, yes. See how easily we are just...
We are ADD kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're talking about, how the name, the chaos. It really doesn't take that much to inflict chaos upon us. And, we can't control the weather. We can't control what the sun does, how strong the moon's pull is. You can't control a house creaking. Right. You can't control, the door squeaking every time the wind pushes up against it a little bit. You can actually alter that and try to help it, but you can't change it. So there's so many different types of contamination and stuff like that, to where you really don't have complete control of your investigation. You just, on the outside, it looks like you do. Right. Yeah. So. Well, the paranormal in itself is chaos.
It is. It really is.
Because if you go to the meaning of the word paranormal, that means something that cannot be explained by any technology, any knowledge of science or biology, or no knowledge available today or technology can explain nor measure what is happening there. It's the name paranormal.
Right.
And if we could fully explain it, measure it, detect it, knew exactly what it was and everything else, then it would just be normal.
What's
normal,
fun in that? Yeah, there's nothing fun about being normal.
But so the paranormal in itself is chaos, and that's kind of what we're trying to do is we're trying to control it the most that we can in a way that at least we can detect it, at least we can try to figure it out.
Right. Yeah.
But there's so many factors that affect us. I've seen there's a client that we've got that earlier we were talking about the gravitational waves and the electromagnetic waves coming from the Earth's core and solar rays and things like that. There's some people out there that have what's called electrohypersensitivity, or EHS, and there's going to be a spelling test at the end of the show, and we're going to have everyone spell electrohypersensitivity. So we'll go ahead and get that ready.
I have the key for the
Right.
test, so I know how to spell it.
Right. Followed by supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Hey, somebody spelled that last week. Don't challenge our audience; they'll prove us wrong now.
Right. Oh, wait, we'll see in the comments. There'll be like 5 comments.
I believe it was Sam Moyer who spelled that last
Right.
week, and I couldn't even tell if he spelled it correctly because I don't even know. So,
but the the waves and all these different environmental elements not only affect locations, they affect people in the locations. And that's like one client that we've got that can't stand too close to a power meter. If she gets within 5-6 feet of an electrical power meter like everybody has on their house, it affects her to the point that she can taste copper, like as if she were biting on it. You know?
well, you know that case we did. Also, it wasn't very far from the one you're talking about. That her home was so high in EMF readings that it actually affected her. She was super sensitive to EMF readings. And that's where a lot of her reports were coming from because she had such an old air conditioner unit in there. It seemed like they had every wire run to it that big around, and it was just pushing out some EMF. Our meters would spike when you'd go down that hallway. And it seemed like the rooms that surrounded it were the ones they were having paranormal activity in.
Right.
So
the worst part about that particular case was, you remember we talked to them after we did our investigation. We talked to them, explained to them that they needed to get an electrician out to look over it. That it seemed like they had some grounding issues,
right.
and that it was causing some problems there. And if you remember, the response was, "Oh, we don't need to call an electrician. My husband's an electrician. He's not licensed, but he knows what he's doing." And
right.
so you have an unlicensed electrician or unlicensed person that has done all the electrical work in the house. Now, EMF is off the charts. There's objects are coming on, turning off, and all of this when they're plugged in, especially in certain rooms. And you don't need to have someone certified check that.
Right.
So welcome to the world of paranormal investigation.
There you go. You're going to run into things like that all the time. No matter what you find, if it's not paranormal, some people aren't going to take your word for it.
Right.
So the best you can do is give them the evidence that you have, your decision, your conclusion of what you found, and carry on about your business. You can't make everybody happy.
Right. And the worst part about that particular case was, you remember, we went outside and looked at the ground rod on the outside of the house, and you could see the wire was disconnected from it.
Sure was.
We've got that.
It was just one of those that where you knew within an hour of being there what the problem was. I mean, just doing the pre-walkthrough that we do, we found this area and we were asking, where is your most activity you have? And it was in the bedroom right behind. It was in the wall. The unit was in the wall, and the bedroom right behind it was having the most activity. So
and there was also literally on one side of the wall, or one side of the bedroom, on the exterior of that wall, just opposite, was the power meter.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And then on the other end of the room was the Wi-Fi router.
Yep.
I mean, within maybe 3 feet of their headboard.
So they had almost every electrical thing that could produce EMF right there in one little area. And when they walked through there, it would affect this lady, and she would get scared, paranoid, which is some of the symptoms that high EMF exposure will give you.
So lots to consider about that. I will say this, and this is probably when a lot of people will not like us anymore, but the fact
be careful. We don't have too many people that like us now, so we want to keep our circle,
right?
But we don't want to destroy our circle.
Right. So, probably one of the biggest single misconceptions involving the paranormal, And the TV shows tend to push this notion, and these websites and stuff, and personally, it's something that drives me insane, is the notion that anyone can be a paranormal investigator if they just simply go out, buy some gear off this website or this website, spend $199, get this ghost hunting kit, and hey, all of a sudden you're good to go. Set you up a team page, or website, and hey,
throw a couple pictures up there.
Right, and now you've got free reign. You can go in and you've got the gear that you bought off eBay or the website or whatever. So now you're qualified to go into people's houses and tell them, hey, that's a demon in the closet, and it's going to kill you if we don't come through with holy water and do this and that.
Sage and all that.
And
closing portals. And
fact is that is not the case. To truly be an effective paranormal investigator, you have to learn lots of things. You need to spend lots of time studying.
Lots of things you're going to find completely boring. Trust me. Frank has thrown some books in front of me that I was like, holy, hey, you want me to what? I work all day. Now you want me to come home and read this?
Those were good books.
The Cat in the Hat, Green Egg and Ham is not a good book. And what does that have to do with the paranormal?
I want to do the pop-up edition.
I love the pictures. I love the pictures and the little sprouty things, the pop-up book. That was great. It kept my attention for a little bit. But, I'm just not a cat in the hat person.
But to truly, to truly be able to do this type of investigation or research, you have to know not only the basics of paranormal, you have to know what can create similar effects. You need to know enough about biology. You need to know enough about plumbing to know what pipes can do, or you need to know enough about electrical to know how to spot a bad ground on the house. You need to be able to spot structural weaknesses where you can find those pops, those creaks, and even know that, okay, well, if this person's taking this medication or if this person is, or if this person has, this router here, or, whatever, you need to know what in their environment can affect them. And so it doesn't end up like the case that we've talked about on the show before with the haunted fish aquarium,
or the side effects from a medication that we traveled 2.5, 3 hours to go do an investigation, and was told to us when we got there. We generally do a pre-investigation call to the people. We try to ask a bunch of questions, as many questions as we can before we take the long haul up there. Well, some of the information was held from us, and when we made it up there, it was told to us, and there was nothing we could say that could convince her otherwise.
Right.
God bless her husband. He knew there was nothing paranormal there, but that was his wife. He was going to support her, let us do the investigation. He was great. So, he
was pretty smart. He was going to say, yes, honey, you're right, and let us be the bad guys.
It was, let them guys tell her, no, there's nothing going on here. I ain't saying crap. So we are used as the goat in some of these.
But the case I mentioned about the haunted fish aquarium, something to keep in mind is not only was it something that simple, just the fish aquarium causing, the infrasound to put out that made them think that it was haunted. But we were the 4th team that investigated this location, and this had been an ongoing process over a year's time, and they had tried house blessings. They were told that they had teams come out, investigate the place, and they were told that he had like an evil attachment, and it was demons, and it was this and that and this and that, and the only reason was these 3 other teams had not learned what environmental factors could affect it. So they had this whole family terrified.
Scared to death. Yes.
And they were considering moving, and just so much was going on.
And that's why you need to research your team that you're going to call in just as much as just like you would research an electrician or a plumber or an air conditioner guy. You're going to call the best ones out there. You got to look around and read up on their website, see what kind of experiments they do. And if they come on there, professional ghost hunter, swipe left.
Right,
I mean,
right.
Is that what that is? Swipe left?
Right,
Yeah. Swipe right? I can't remember anyway.
Yeah, basically, if they call themselves an expert ghost hunter,
then Frank's been doing this 20 years. He's no expert. I've been doing this 6-7 years. I'm way from being an expert.
I'm working on advancing to the level of dunce, honestly. But
I mean, I've almost got my green belt in stupidity. So I mean, it's
we're talking about we talked about telling everybody to read a little bit. I'm saying, okay, you need to study, you need to do this before you get out there and do it. And I haven't said read what.
Right, you just read books, just read something. But not with us. We're going to give you homework.
Right.
He's big about homework.
But because the thing of it is that you see so many of these paranormal websites and things like that, and you'll see the same exact information that has been copied and pasted and plagiarized from one website to another to another to another since 1994. And I can literally, I'm not exaggerating, I can point out examples where I have seen the same information copied, pasted.
Right.
And
Laura says, I need background in psychology and mental illness.
Yes.
That is a great thing to have right there. Frank and I are kind of starting to, in the team, we're starting to lean towards the more psychological part and the mental part of the paranormal.
Okay. So something that I'm going to recommend is this book. This is a paranormal case book, and it's by of course my favorite author, Lloyd Auerbach. He
one of the best, I think.
Yeah. If you ever get on YouTube and look him up, listen to some of his lectures and seminars, and you can learn so much from this man. So let me hold this a little closer so you can see it. But this book is absolutely a great one. But pick up a copy of it. You can get it, now your library may have it. You can pick up books now in ebook format for like $3. Sometimes you can find them for free. You can get, the hard copy books, a lot of times less than $10, a lot of times less than $5. Mm-hmm.
Or if you just wait long enough and don't do your homework, Frank will give you one. Okay. He gave me one the other night.
So even if you're not a big person on science and things like that, still pick up a copy of this. It's a case book. He talks about how he handled some of his cases, what the results were, and it will definitely help you. You can see it's not one of those giant thick books. One you can read in just a few hours. Now, then after you finish that one, you got two options.
I'm not the only one you shove books down their throat. Somebody else in here says.
Right. You talk to enough people, and I'm going to get that accusation made quite a bit.
For those of you who are just watching real quick, you're going to see me look at my phone. What I'm doing is I'm actually watching the show with the sound off so I can see the comments. Right. So I can communicate with y'all guys, everyone that's watching, and I can call you out when you come in the room. So
that this book is Hauntings and Poltergeist, and it is Hauntings and Poltergeist, a ghost hunter's guide. This is an excellent book.
It really is. I just started this book last week, and it's really, really interesting. You really need to get. This is one of the best books that's out there. A lot of people talk about this book.
Yes, this is an excellent book. It's kind of condensed. It's a condensed form of this book, which is my all-time favorite book that I'll show you in just a second. This book, read it. It a little bit more technical, gets a little bit more into science behind the paranormal, but It makes so many things fall into place, make sense. Absolutely read it. And again, that one's by Lloyd Auerbach. If you haven't figured out, I like his books.
Yeah, it looks like you have his whole collection.
I just about do.
I mean, it's like you almost go into his house every other night and get him off his shelf.
Well, something I didn't show is this one is actually a signed copy.
Huh, so you did go to the man's house. Did you hold him hostage to get that or something?
Then there is this last book that we'll show you before we go. E.S.P. Hauntings and Poltergeists, a Parapsychologist's Handbook by Lloyd Auerbach. This book here, if you have ever talked to me more than 10 minutes about the paranormal, I've probably recommended this book to you. This book, it's a little thicker, but there is so much information. A lot of people call this the Ghost Hunter's Bible. You have a hard, if you've been in the paranormal and you haven't heard about this book, then you probably haven't been in the paranormal long.
Now, this isn't one of those books you can read the first page and then flip to the last page to see what happened. Right. It's not one of them books. This is one you got to read every page. There's no cliff notes.
What I always recommend to people, you can see this book. It's been with me a while. I've had it, and it is not lightly used by any means. But all you do is you take it, get you one, read it. Read over it, or even if you want to, read this one. Buy this one and keep it as a reference to use. But still, there's so much good information in this book that you don't want to miss it.
I agree.
Those are just a couple. Like I said, just starting out. Read this one. It's a quick read. 4 hours, 5 hours, you're done with it, and it'll help you so much. And it's not as technical. It's more.
It's explained to where, and he actually does a great job of explaining things to where the people that aren't really into science can understand it. It's really a good, well-worded book.
That is one of Lloyd's amazing talents.
Yes.
Is he can take the most complex concepts and break them down so that you don't have to be a science
chemist or whatever that word is. It made my head hurt trying to think of it.
You'll definitely want, definitely get these two. And, get you one of these, if nothing else to use as a reference book, but get it. Learn what's in it. Like I said, this is a condensed version of this one, but you'll definitely want them. So, those are just a few from the collection.
I know, yeah, you should have brought, I don't think you have enough room on this counter for all the books that you have.
But definitely, if you're thinking about getting out there and doing this, then, take that time to read and learn, know what you're looking for. You need to know how to approach it from every angle possible before you just simply go out there and say, oh, this is paranormal.
Right.
So, hopefully tonight you picked up on a few things. I know we've been all over the place.
Yeah, we have.
Everything else.
We can't seem to stay on topic a long time.
We are ADD kids.
I guess next week we need to have a big bottle of Ritalin right here in front of the middle of it. Just take 2 or 3 right about every 15 minutes.
Right. They'll say, hey, Donald and Frankie went 3 minutes without insulting each other or getting off topic. What's wrong with them? Who are they?
Yeah, this ain't these guys. Somebody has done hijacked the show.
So with that said, we appreciate everyone sticking around, especially here a couple minutes later than.
Yes, I know.
But
sure
we hope everyone has a great night, a great weekend. Stay warm. And looking at the weather, it's supposed to be warm starting tomorrow.
This weekend's going to be in the low 60s. We just had snow yesterday, so if you don't like the weather in Alabama, wait 10 minutes. It'll be perfect.
Yep. So if you can make it tonight, you can thaw out tomorrow.
There you go.
So that's it. Everyone have a great week.
Thanks, everyone. Really enjoyed the show, and catch us next Thursday, 8 o'clock, same time, same location. All right, Frank. It's that button right there, yeah.
Right here? Is that?
Dude,
is that?
No, the one.
Right.
Come on,